Good morning. This is a special edition of the Great Basin morning briefing. We've shifted over to fire potential from smoke briefing just for today. We do have some high risk and red flag potential in the short term, mainly for this afternoon. We'll take a look at that in a second. Great Basin fire activity map this morning. Recent fires in the yellow, new and emerging fires in the red, smaller dots indicating all small fire activity at the present moment. Observed precipitation over the past 7 days, quite dry across most areas except for a good portion of Utah where we had a moderate precipitation event, about a quarter to 3/4 of an inch of liquid equivalent. We see the dark blue through the green, and more importantly, it was over a fairly long duration, 48 to 72 hours of showers and also some snow above about 6,500 feet. So that was definitely good news there. You can see those areas near or above normal in northern and parts of eastern Utah, which is good news, and it makes for a tricky forecast because that's where the best combination for a temporary period of high winds and low humidity will occur. Of course, this precipitation, where you see the dark blue and green, probably has enhanced or kick-started green up a little bit. And definitely more so in maybe some emerging grasses in those areas, less so further south and east, and that's where some of our concerns will be. Looking at the drought, still there, exceptional drought to extreme drought, where you see the dark red and red areas. Looking at our 10-hour fuels, starting to dry out, driest areas of the less than 5%, mostly over Nevada. Starting to recover across Utah, of course, 10-hour fuels only need about a day or so of dry weather. We've had about 2-3 days. 100-hour fuels, again, slower response, the driest, obviously, across southern Nevada, but the gold shade covering just about all of Nevada, far southwestern Idaho, and about the southern third to southern half of Utah. That gold shade is still mid to upper single digits in the 100-hour fuels. 1,000-hour fuels definitely have responded a bit better across the middle to higher elevations of northeastern Utah. Still bone dry in the forest areas of far southern southwest Utah and down into the higher terrain of southern Nevada. Satellite imagery this morning shows a strong front poised to move towards the Great Basin, already affecting areas of central Idaho into northern western Wyoming. This front will drop down, and this will bring some strong winds across parts of Idaho, Wyoming, and to a good portion of Utah. You see some enhanced cloud cover here. These clouds will push into northern Utah as well this afternoon. Could have some limiting factors for fire potential across the Uintas and maybe the Uinta Basin, but further south this afternoon should remain mostly sunny. And so we go to the map this afternoon, and you can see the cloud cover through here across northeastern Utah, and drier as head further south, and a tight packing out of the northwest. For that reason, we have issued high risk for a combination of not just dry humidity levels and strong winds, but also fuels that still did not get as much precipitation last week as areas further north. And also maybe not as affected by green up. Well, it's going to be kind of a tricky forecast. Red flag warnings from the National Weather Service cover a much larger area. You can see the areas here in purple. We'll see how this plays out. I think it'll be just a short-term event. You can see on the left, the winds, again, quite strong out of the northwest, and that does produce some downsloping across some of the Uinta foothills, pushing into the Uinta Basin, and again, all across the higher terrain of Utah, especially further east of that. These purple to brown winds indicate winds of 35 to as much as 50 miles per hour. The humidity levels, though, they'll be in the low 20% range in the Uintas, dropping down to the teens. This 24% actually is over the higher terrain of the Fish Lake and Manti National Forest areas, but you can see that single-digit humidity down by the Arizona border, and that's that dry condition down in far southeast Utah, along with some of these winds here. Although they're not in the strongest belt of winds, it could have the best combination of winds, humidity, and missing out on a good chunk of precipitation from last week. After that, things should quiet down. We have a weak trough low pressure, some mid-level broken to overcast clouds. Could rule out some spotty precipitation. Pretty uneventful on the 7-day significant fire potential. Winds diminish across Utah. Pick up a little bit over southern Nevada, where the humidity is going to be quite dry. So I'll be keeping an eye on that. Otherwise, humidities in the teens to mid-20s. Probably good burning weather across parts of the forests of Idaho and western Wyoming. Wednesday, still some lingering moisture under that low. Not really any organized precipitation drying out. So we'll just call it seasonable to maybe slightly cooler than normal, but we don't expect any significant winds in our area. Quite windy, though, to our neighbors in the south across parts of Arizona. They'll have some issues there, but for us, humidity levels near seasonable levels. 3-day precipitation totals, as that upper low settles in across central Nevada and Utah, a few sprinkles, maybe a couple hundredths of an inch, not out of the question. Maybe a bit more across the Uintas, especially the north flank of the Uintas. And then Thursday, still under a weak low pressure area starting to cut off down by Vegas and Southern California. Afterwards, high pressure briefly builds in. We'll be watching this low dropping down out of the Gulf of Alaska. It'll deepen quite a bit over the weekend. Saturday, looking almost like a late winter or early spring map, with moisture pushing the Pacific Northwest, Northern California, into parts of western Idaho and northwest Nevada. And then Sunday, again, that low deepening, pushing in moisture across the northern and western sections of the Great Basin. But there will be some increasing winds across the southern tier where fields are quite dry, from the Spring Mountains in Vegas into parts of southern Utah, to keep an eye on that. Otherwise, some more moisture in other areas. 7-day precipitation accumulation. Most of this light stuff over the Great Basin will be the next 3 days. But some of the stuff here in Idaho and pushing into the Sierra front will be with that weekend storm system. The 8 to 14-day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. This is April 26th to May 2nd. Overall, temperatures averaging somewhere above normal. Precipitation drier than normal across southeastern areas of the Great Basin, but wetter than normal across northern and western portions of a Great Basin. So a bit of a mix for us as we close out the month of April. Concludes our briefing. Have a great day.